Hello, welcome to a bonus episode of Hockey Inside Out. Defenseman Jordan Harris was on Sportsnet's list of 30 players most likely to be traded before the March 8th trade deadline. Do you see this actually happening, that Jordan Harris might no longer be a member of the Canadiens? Rick?
I would not be surprised. I mean, he's played, 31 games. Unfortunately, the injuries have, again, nailed him to the point where he hasn't had a chance to, stay in the lineup. Personally, I'm not totally excited with his overall game. There's other guys in the list, and obviously with the depth that they have in that position, there's going to be some guys that are going to have to be moved in order to accommodate the guys that are either going to step in immediately or not too far in the future. So I would not be surprised, and I would seriously consider what the options would be in the event that he does draw interest. He's a good kid, don't get me wrong, but life in the business and life with the numbers game of guys in that position, that I believe that there's other guys, quite a few guys ahead of him. And I think that he's the kind of guy that somebody maybe would take a chance at in a trade.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it happened this season, just because you usually want to trade guys at their highest value. And I think you look at compared to last season, I think Harris has fallen down the depth chart quite significantly. Last season, I believe, outside of Matheson, he was the highest in 5-on-5 ice time on the Canadiens. He played a lot. He was very depended on by Marty St. Louis to stabilize things. I think they do really enjoy the intelligence that he plays the game with. But this season, he hasn't quite been able to get that back. And I don't know if it's just that other players have taken a step and he hasn't, or, development's not linear. Things happen. Maybe there's a bit of a sophomore slump. The injury is nagging him a little bit. But we haven't seen the same Jordan Harris this year for most of the season that we saw last season. And it would be a bit surprising to me, after just signing him to an extension, that they would move him this year. Wouldn't be surprised in the summer. Wouldn't be surprised next season. Some of these defensemen are going to get moved. There's just too many players on the Montreal Canadiens or within their organization that look like they're going to be NHL players on the defensive side, especially on the left, for all of them to have a spot. It's impossible. So eventually somebody's going to get traded. Harris looks like the odd one out when you combine, the lack of physical stature and some of his limitations in terms of like producing offense and being a really strong defensive net front guy. He's not really there. His defense comes more in the rest of the areas of the ice. So I can see it happening. I don't know if it makes sense to do it this year, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure how active Ken Hughes is going to be before the trade deadline. He's already traded Sean Monahan. That was the big card that he was holding. He's already said that he's willing to keep 3 goalies until the end of the season if he doesn't get a deal he likes before the trade deadline. And you're right, Andrew, I think in the off season, teams are more aware of what their salary cap situation is next season, etc. And there's no doubt, Jordan Harris is, he's fallen behind Jaden Struble on the depth chart. There's no doubt about that with the way Struble's played. They've got other defensemen coming up. You got Logan Mayo coming up. You got Lane Hudson coming up. You got David Reinbacher coming up. There's only so many spots. And I think that Jordan Harris could be a valuable commodity to other teams, but I'm thinking whatever trades Kent Hughes does, they're going to be package deals. Like, I don't think it's going to be Jordan Harris for somebody. I think it's going to be like Jordan Harris and Jake Allen, or Jordan Harris and the second first-round pick they have this year to maybe get another forward who can score goals. So I think Kent Hughes has a lot of I think he's going to be really busy before the start of next season. I don't know how busy he's going to be by the trade deadline, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jordan Harris is one of the players that he moves, just because I think he has value to other teams. And the Canadiens are loaded with young defensemen on the blue line. You got to open up some spots for some of these other guys that are coming up.
Well, let us know in the comment section below. Do you think Jordan Harris will be moved before the trade deadline? Or is there another player that you see more on your radar that another team could potentially be interested in? And make sure you go to hockeyinsideout.com to see our full episode.